back. This is part 2 to part 1 of our Q&A, our annual Q&A, Vlogmas Q&A that is, and we are actually on all of the questions that have been asked on YouTube, and the ones we did on part 1 are from Instagram and Facebook. I will link it below for you guys, but it is just the last video, and I hope you guys enjoyed. So sit back, because we have quite a few questions again, and we love doing these for you guys. So ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
So again, from YouTube directly, Lisa Morton asked, hi Lisa, where is Nate's carpool karaoke?
Okay, coming out with the big guns, right out the gate. All right, so those of you who remember last year when this came up, in a video where we decided we were going, or I was going to film that, I was so excited and I was so sure of myself, and in the core of me, I felt like I was going to get phone calls from people.
You're going to get a record deal.
Yeah, like it was going to be a thing. Like Lady Gaga was literally going to see it. It was going to go viral. I felt like all these things were coming into alignment. And then we made the video and I watched it back. And I determined that I was incorrect.
I was wrong. I was wrong.
The long short of it was it actually gave me a headache for the day because I went for it. And it was on the way to work. No, the real thing is, guys, it was a gag. I'm not a good singer.
They loved it. Will you do it again?
That's fine. I mean, people like videos of train wrecks, don't they? I mean, I don't know.
Oh man, I will say that question she asked got a lot of thumbs up.
Oh Lord, have mercy on me.
It did.
You guys are glutton for punishment, aren't you?
So, I mean, let us know in the comments because, I mean, he'll do it.
Oh my goodness.
Are you she also asked, are you bodybuilding to compete or just for fitness? Eee, this is so hard.
Well, I think it's a two-part. One, you're doing it for fitness now.
Yeah, but it's just crazy to think of that, as being more. Yeah, right now, my focus is truly to get to a really healthy place. And I've gotten there, but I'm not quite there yet. So my focus is still that. But the conversation has come up. And between people at my gym, between us, a lot of people are actually starting to get ready for a competition that go to my gym for a physique type competition, which I will tell you is not really my thing. The bikini. That is a
bodybuilding physique competition. That is a showcasing of muscle and pinnacle fitness to that standard. Yeah, I personally am not really into that. Just that aesthetic even of being really, really thin and no body fat on you and stuff. It's just not what drives me, but there's those warrior competitions, there's true CrossFit, there is some of the other ones too that they all have different names and stuff, but they're more the heavy man competitions. Yeah, the strong man. Yeah, that's more me. And I'm considering it, but I'm not quite there yet. But I feel like that's gonna be the next big thing. And I don't know, it's just so weird. But there's talk. There is talk about it. So we will see. That remains to be seen. Come on, you can get a 225-pound Atlas ball 4 feet off the ground, right? I can do it. Anyway, we will see. All right, next question is from Charlene Wagner. How long have you been married? We have been married. Married or happily? Happily, that's different. No, we've been married since 05, September 3rd, 05. 14 years, or going on 14 years. Yeah. A long time. We've been together since 03. Yeah. Tabitha asked, have you already done a video on how you and Nate met? Actually, I don't know why I remember this, but we actually did last year on Vlogmas. Yeah, we've
did.
done it.
We did.
I didn't know you remembered.
I remembered, actually, it was last year's Vlogmas Q&A. So I will link that below. But we did meet in high school, but just kind of even more in depth. I remember we talked about it. I don't know why I remember it, but I did. Yeah, we did.
Right on.
I'm pretty sure we did anyway. And
I'll go back and take a look.
and then, or she said also, or a wedding details video. And it got me thinking, we do technically have our wedding on film, don't we? We have a video.
Yeah, video.
I've never shared it. I don't think I've watched it in 10 years. Like, I might work on that for you guys as far as like sharing that, because I don't mind sharing that. I just haven't physically watched it myself in a long time.
Yeah.
But I did put together a year ago, remember this too, remember for our anniversary,
Yeah.
I posted kind of like, you'll see when we first met to like at that time about a year ago. And so I will link that below too. And so it's kind of along those lines. But then she also said, or maybe a newlywed type video answering those types of questions. We did do that. We actually did. So I will link that below if I can find it too. These are kind of old, but they apply. So we do have some of those actually that exist.
It's gonna get me to go back and watch all the videos, which is fun. Which is really fun.
So we do kind of have some of those, so I will link those below if you want to reminisce, because they're kind of old. All right, next one is from Aurora Verstiak. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I love your first name. My favorite Disney princess, by the way.
What an awesome name.
I know, huh? What advice do you have for someone who wants to start a YouTube channel? I think I've done videos even actually with like that too. Again, very old. And now that I've done it longer, you know, I would just say that I've gotten a few of you actually reaching out to me too about like, they're gonna start, but they just haven't done it yet. Just do it. Like, just do it. Because you're gonna always like question, oh, I need this, this, and this. I'm just waiting on this. Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
You don't need to get anything fancy anymore, especially anymore, I feel like, because I feel like most of us have a smartphone. It's more than enough. It really is. Right now, I'm filming on my Canon camera, but normally I just use my phone for like vlogs and stuff. Have lighting face a window, and you're good. You don't need special lighting, at least to get started. So don't feel like you need all those things to do it.
Yeah, I think that's another positive thing that can happen when you do a YouTube channel as well is, and some of you that have been here a long time ago when the picture was fuzzy and the sound was awful, we had a completely different camera.
Yeah.
And
it was a different time.
It was a different time, and the videos were different, and you know, the setups over the time, you guys have seen it completely change. And I think that's part of like
the growing with
journey
it. Yeah.
and growing, and I think people get, I think as a viewer, when you get people bought into your channel,
to your journey,
it's about you,
Yeah.
and less about, you know,
what you're
overall
actually
production quality,
doing. Right.
or something like that. So, but it's cool because I remember when we switched, you know, when we got the upgrade for the camera, which is a significant thing, right? You guys are seeing this. But even like when that happened, people's positive feedback of just like, oh, that's awesome. And when editing started to change after we got the iMac,
Yeah.
and you know, those things are all growing, and you guys can remember back when it wasn't as good.
Right.
If you want to think about it that way.
Right.
It's all part of the journey.
It's all part of it. It's actually what makes it pretty cool. I would also just say, be you, be transparent. That is so important. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't change as you go, or the change where your channel's even going and stuff, but just be you. And then you'll never have to worry about like, you know, covering a lie or remembering something you said and making sure just be you. Be you. Don't compare. That's a big thing. You're always going to compare yourself. And on one hand, it's good to get ideas from other people, because sometimes you're just like, I don't know what to do, you know? You're new at this, but don't compare yourself, because that will eat you up. You'll never like it. You'll never enjoy the process if you're just constantly comparing. But definitely look for inspiration. But yeah, just do it, because it's a lot of fun. I think most people really do enjoy it and find it to be a great outlet, and you'll really, if you stick with it, you'll meet incredible people along the way, and that's what you guys are. Anyway. All right, next one is from Nikki Neal. Do you know, this is cool, do you know about the pig preserve in Jamestown, Tennessee? It's an animal sanctuary just for pigs, and the caretakers are amazing. I actually did not know for a long time, but I have heard of it now. Now again, we're from California, so it's not nearby to us, but I have heard of it before. It's pretty cool. There's actually a decent amount of these types of places. I don't know, you know, all the like reputations of them, but like there's actually a lot more of them throughout the states now. And, and technically where we planned to get ours originally when we were going to get a pig was from a place in Chico, California up north. And I don't know that she's truly a sanctuary type place, but she kind of is, because she will take any pig back from anybody as a drop-off, safe place, drop-off anytime. So I call that one. But we got Bumper, and it happened to be literally like 2 miles down the road from us. It was not planned like at all, but it just kind of panned out that way. But that was our original plan. So that's really cool. Really cool. There's actually a lot of them now. Mosca Frog Lover. What is your goal weight? How did you find what you loved for exercise? So I talked about in part 1, I wasn't really 100% sure what my goal weight is, just because I don't know what that number really is yet. I don't know, but I'm gonna say in the 140s to 140s. That's what I'm gonna assume is going to be what it is, but it might change. And then how did I find what I love for exercise? That's actually a funny one, because I don't know. Like, I don't know how, like, you really do come to find, you know, I always tell people, like, find what you love to do. Well, how do you do that? I've done yoga before. I've done just, like, kind of screwing around at a gym before on my own.
What were the classes?
Zumba. And they're fun. They're fun. And yoga is a whole other thing. I love yoga too, but like I kind of almost separate that still of like.
You gotta go try and cycle.
I know. No, I don't.
Yeah, you do. You gotta go try, because I don't.
No, I don't. I really have always been athletic growing up, and like I know this sounds really bad. I know this does, but like I was always that girl that like had to be the best, at least in my mind, at what I was doing. Whatever position, sport that I played, like I had to be the best. And I don't know why, but for me, heavy lifting, it kind of takes me back to that of like, not everyone can do it. And can I do more than the other person? And typically I can. And so I think there's just that little piece that like comes back to what I used to be. And it just kind of relit this fire in me of like, I guess that's the best way to describe it, of like how I found that this is what I wanted to pursue. But I would just recommend that, like, you know, you try different things and you're gonna probably know pretty quickly if you love or hate it. It's not to say it didn't come with a lot of pain and a lot of soreness and like, oh my gosh. I remember the first day I came home, I literally walked through the door shaking, and had to do an ice bath. I didn't vlog that actually. I did an ice bath, like a damn ice bath, and it was
like an ice bath. Like an ice bath.
Like who does that? I did. It was a freaking mess. But somehow I still knew that like, oh yes, like this is it. This is what I'm meant to do. How does that correlate? I don't know, but it did. And now I just love it. And, you know, I'm still finding within it too, like what I want to be better at that I'm not great at. And cardio being one of them, you know, but yeah, heavy lifting. That's where I just found it was my gig, my jam. Haley Scheffler asked, what are some of your New Year's goals? We kind of talked about that in part 1. This is a really good one. This is for Nate. Nate, can he talk about how he perceives veganism and the kind of stigma that comes with it, especially with being a guy, and why some men think it's unmanly? You see most women online following a plant-based diet, but not so many guys. And if you do see guys that are vegan, they tend to be crazy athletes or activists rather than just normal people. It's true.
Okay. Yeah,
so what are your thoughts on that?
Thank you for not lumping me in with that.
Because you are normal.
No, so to be a good vegan, you don't have to be an activist. You have to have the right type of frame of mind and be thoughtful about your environment and what you're putting into your body and what that does to the rest of the world. And yeah, I can get on a pedestal and we can do the super preachy, but when it really comes down to it, the perception of like manly men aren't vegan, that's a stereotype. Just like those same people, a lot of people, not those same people, a lot of people see people who are vegan as those people and those stereotypes. And we've talked about, and I'm telling you, man, it drives me nuts. I'm like, if vegans would just get off their high horse,
I agree,
about how special your diet makes you, because it doesn't. It's a choice that everyone can make.
Right.
What you eat is your choice, and it doesn't make you better than someone else.
Except I'm better than everyone else.
Well, there you go.
I mean, it's different.
But I mean that's the problem is it's created that own stigma, which then gives people that perception, and then you have a whole bunch of guys going, well, I don't want to associate
I don't want
with
any part of that,
so I'm gonna go eat a whole bunch of meat so that I'm not even close to being recognizable
right
to that cause or that movement or that idea. And for me, it's just like I have a whole bunch of friends who it's kind of funny because they'll all do the thing where they're just like, oh my goodness, you're vegan.
What?
Even my new job that I got just a little bit over a year ago, I went back and I worked with a guy that him and I have sat down on multiple breakfast meals together and consumed quite a bit of animal years ago.
Yeah.
And coming back in and now I got him to try fried tofu the other day, and it was the most hilarious thing in the world. But he was gonna try, and he's the barbecue guy. But it comes down to
ease people into it by not being crazy.
And I'll drop the subtle hint that I'm like, oh, so what Disney farm character are you eating today? And like, I'll poke fun, but I don't like to judge people for what they eat. I don't like to judge people realistically for anything. Everyone's gonna live their own life. I'm better than some.
I'm better than most though, so like
No, I always think it's funny when the stereotype thing comes up.
But she's so right though, because it is a thing, and it sucks because there's so many people too that like, on one hand, like we said, we're kind of over the whole like being in your face and like the activists out there. It's just, it can be so much and it can be so put off.
It pushes people away.
It totally does.
People
but on the flip side of it, there is good from it too, and they have made an impact, and you can't deny that. So I mean, there is. Like, we're thankful for them too, but we feel there's a better way to go about it.
Yeah, it's one thing to be an activist, and if you're gonna go hardcore and go do it, then go do it, and that's fine. Yeah. But it doesn't have to be that's the right path.
Or the only way.
Or the only way. Yeah. I don't know, the perception is, I mean, I've gotten that from quite a few people of just like, oh, you're vegan? I love the one when people will go, oh man, you're vegan, but you're kind of, and I'm like, fat? I get it. No, I understand. You can say it. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I'm like, I'm a 250-pound vegan right now. Yeah. I'm way healthier than what I used to be. Everyone doesn't know my journey just from face value.
You should say, I used to be a 330-pound meat eater. That should be your response, actually.
And the big thing about it is I'm just like, yeah, do you like Oreos? They're vegan. Have a good time. You know? And you can be unhealthy vegan, and we determined that a long time ago at the beginning of our journey. Being healthy and vegan is just me being healthy my way.
It's just being healthy,
it's just my way.
You know, I agree. I completely agree. And I feel like it's kind of funny. I want to just like add to this that like, you would think that now in March, we will hit our 3-year mark of being vegan. At least mostly, a lot of it is a journey of truly like figuring out, we still make mistakes. Like the other day I bought stuff with eggs. I didn't realize, you know? So we're not even perfect, but we'll just say still our 3-year anniversary is coming up for it. You would think the longer that we've been vegan, the more that we would be into it and more like passionate about it and stuff. And funny enough, I'm not to speak for you, but like funny enough, I don't really feel that way actually. Like I don't feel a lot different or more passionate about it. In fact, I almost feel kind of, I don't want to say the opposite, but like I have just really taken that stance of like, do what you feel is best. Right. And I always tell you guys that too when you ask for advice on like going vegan or you're struggling with it, and I'm like, don't beat yourself up over it. I think because in the beginning too, I really struggled and I really got into a funk of like always feeling down because I wasn't doing it good enough and I was always making mistakes. And I'm like, okay, wait, that's not a way to live either.
Right.
It's not. And I still feel that way. I still feel that like, even if you're not fully vegan, you are still, by doing even just certain things or cutting it back, that is still so good.
Absolutely.
And it's good for you, it's good for the animals, it's good for the environment, it's still good. Like, it's still good. So that's what I hold on to. It's still good.
Like a lot of things in life, it is not just black and white.
Yeah.
You are not vegan and everyone else.
Right.
You are literally someone who's in transition dietary.
Right.
You've changed your dietary for your own health reasons.
Or for animals, or for whatever reason. It's still your reason you chose to do it, right? Yeah.
So, and I mean, also when you think about it from the standpoint of vegans who judge.
Yeah.
We're going to call it that. Vegans who judge. I don't want to say activists because I'm not trying to
lump
say
them.
that. I'm not trying to lump, but I'm saying, you know, people who judge who are vegan. You know, would you say, you would ask somebody like that who's pretty hardcore and you would say, hey, this person only eats meat one time a day because that's a dietary choice that they make. They're bad.
Yeah.
This other person who eats meat with every meal, they're bad. And it's just like, no, there's a difference. There's someone there. There's someone there who is making a positive, positive decision that relate to my decisions, why I do it. They're great to me.
But
that's
all
awesome.
of them are,
And I'm not gonna say one's better than the other or something like that, but just a perspective of like, it's not always good or bad.
Yeah.
There's a spectrum, and I don't know. You live in that space, and you try not to judge yourself too hard, and just do what you think is right.
Right.
And educate yourself, and do what's right.
Do what's right for best for you and your family, and just do your best. And then she also asked, what are some movies coming out that we are excited to see?
Woo!
He's really like good on like keeping up with his movies. I'm not so much. What are we excited about?
Oh my goodness! So I'm going to the movies quite a few times this coming spring without her.
Without her,
we got Captain Marvel coming. We've got Avengers 4 coming. We've got the start of Phase 4, Marvel Cinematic Universe with Spider-Man. And then also next Christmas, I know a lot of people have put this on the back burner, but there's It in September, which is going to be amazing. It Chapter 2, and then Star Wars, guys. Everyone's forgetting about Star Wars next winter, but you got to get ready for those things now. It is a closing chapter over like 50 years, 55 years worth of adventure.
Anyway, Glass.
Oh,
want to see Glass?
Glass is going to be amazing.
I liked
as well.
those. I love
M. Night Shyamalan movies.
I like him. Every day I'm bristling. That is Miss Chelsea Dickman, and she asked a few questions, some on YouTube, some on Instagram. I've talked about her recently. Be sure you're following her channel. Every Day I'm Bristling is her. Isn't that cute? Is her channel name. She is vegan family. Does a lot of hauls and stuff too.
Yeah.
What was your first pet as a couple?
Oh man. All right, I'll take it. We don't want to get someone all choked up over here, even though I normally get choked up more. So our first pet that we ever got together, it's when we were dating. We weren't even living together or anything like that. And it was a small dog named Pancho. Pancho was
like our child.
An amazing life companion.
He was in our wedding. He was like a little human.
Yeah, he was strangely humanish. But like you guys see us with Bear and things like that, and I think that's like Bear can almost do no wrong because he reminds us so
He's very
much
similar, yeah.
of Punch.
Yeah.
And
he's not Punch, but he's similar.
He's not as fat as Punch. Punch got chubby. But yeah, no, that was our first dog. I mean, it was the neighbor that lived behind you,
us at the time, and my parents, they were like, yeah, we're trying to find a home for this little dog, and like they literally like held it up, and I went,
yoink!
That's what I did. That's what I did. I didn't ask anybody. I didn't ask my parents. I didn't ask nothing. I was like done. I saw that face, and the rest was history.
Yeah.
Like there was no peeling that dog away from me at that point. I think my parents even knew. Like that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, it was pretty hardcore right off the gate. Because I was like, you got to give the dog back, and you're like, I'm not giving the dog back.
It's not happening.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Punch was our first pet, and he's no longer with us.
Yeah.
It was a very sad day. He was a very, very good pet. I miss him quite a bit.
I miss him quite a bit. And then she also asked, have you guys always been animal people? Did you have lots of animals as kids? I've always been an animal person, always. And there's like no animal that I don't love. Like I had them all. I had snakes, I had fish, I had all kinds of like pets, all kinds. But did I have a lot as a kid? I mean, here comes the cat. I had a dog growing up. We had a couple cats. I got the snake when I was like 16, but not really like a lot of pets. Not really. You had dogs and turtles.
Yeah, so I'm not like goo goo gaga for pets. I've always been a dog lover.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge, I would say a huge pet person, and once again, this one here is a huge pet person. I'm a dog lover. I appreciate the companionship of a dog.
Mm-hmm. He also asked, how do you feel about PDA, public display of affection?
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Is that what that is? So I have definitely changed the most with this, I feel like. I guess you'd probably agree.
Yes.
Nate has always been a lot more like touchy-feely, I guess. But not like over the top. I wouldn't say that. But he always, just telling Sydney this morning about it, he's like, I always have to be touching her. Like that's just a thing. Mm-hmm. And in some way. And I guess I pick up on it too on videos even sometimes. Like when I'm editing, I'm like, oh, I guess so. But it's like so second nature now for us. Like I just don't really notice it. But I used to be like when we were dating and stuff, like I didn't like it personally. I was not about it. And now, funny enough, like I can't imagine it being different. Like, or I mean, not having it. Like it just, it's now a new norm. And I don't think I'm over the top with it. Like I don't need to make out in the middle of a store. Mm-mm. But like I don't mind holding hands and a kiss and like hugs and just touching, like he said too, just some form of like touching someone. Like I don't mind it at all now. Now it's like I need it because it's what I know from him, you know? Yeah, but I didn't like it before. I didn't.
It's been just a second nature. Like I've thought about it before in the past on why I am that way and how it was very much that way right off the start. Mm-hmm. And you know, I hadn't had lots of girlfriends or anything like that in my youth. I really had almost none. So it was really, Kim was my first for a lot of things, dating wise and things like that. And it's always just been that way. Like it's always a hand on the back. And I think it just comes from...
Yeah, you haven't, like, you can't probably see, but like it's been like that the whole time.
I constantly keep coming back here and I keep just grabbing a little bit of shoulder, this. And I think it is... For some reason, I don't know why, and I was trying to think of the word the other day, and it's not misogynistic, right? Because that's like a bad word for it, but very much a guy is a guy and a gentleman, and the way he treats women, and the way he conducts himself, and things like that. It's very much, you see classy old depictions of holding hands or... You know, a husband walks into a room with his wife and his hand is on, you know, the small of her back. Yeah. Or you know, the arm interlocking, and you see these classic type things that identify a relationship. Much like that. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just always been, for whatever reason, this thing in my mind of just like, you know, we're out in public and I'm hands on a shoulder, I'm holding your hand.
Right.
There's not a long period of time of disconnect from a physical standpoint. But also on the complete other hand of it, we're not making out in public, and we've never made out in public. But I have no problem giving you a kiss in public, hugging you in public, things like that. But I think that there's a respectful way. Like, I would say that I've never had a display of public affection that's ever made anybody else uncomfortable. Not that that really is something that I gauge, but I guess that's just something I can say is how far it's gotten. But,
yeah, it's more like a respect thing even, or like a, like, I don't know, like you said, of just like kind of the showing you're with someone. And like that's your protector even, you know.
Why that is significant to me, I don't know.
No, we've always been that way.
But I've always been that way, and it took me years later thinking about
where it came from.
Where did it come from?
That one is from Stevie Lee. Would love to hear from both of you how you've been splitting up time between parenting and working out. I've been going to the gym / CrossFit for about 6 months now, and I'm only able to go 3 to 4 times a week. I have a 3-year-old. I would love to hear any tips you might have for parents to find more time to work out. Love Vlogmas, by the way. Thank you. One, let me just say, you're going 3 to 4 times a week. You're doing great. You're doing great, sweetie. That's really good. You're doing it. You are doing it.
You are actually like fulfilling.
Please,
That's awesome.
Please keep in mind that, like, yes, I have stepped up to this, like, crazy, like, change up recently this past month, going like 8 times and sometimes double days to do that. I am struggling. That's the truth. Like, I really am struggling balancing everything. I really am. And let me just say, he's picked up a lot of that for me, of as far as the parenting aspect goes, especially with school stuff. And on Thursdays lately, we've been taking him to my parents, and they've been doing like spelling with him and stuff for that night so I can go to the gym. Like, so there's a lot of people actually involved, and I'm not doing like all of it on my own. I'm not. It's a lot, you know, but I think that, you know, if you can make a schedule in advance and get as many people involved as that really helps. We kind of do that like at the beginning of the week. What does everyone have to be at at what times, and then we work around that, and we like allot the time that we're gonna do schoolwork or whatever else is needed, and it's been working, but it hasn't been easy. It really hasn't. But I really also, again, let me just say, yours is 3 years old, mine is 8 years old. We do have school for him now that we're not homeschooling. That's a huge like help in itself. That's almost like what, 8-9 hours a day that he's not here, or we don't have to worry about him in that way. So we try to squeeze as much as we can into that window of time. But again, for you don't probably have that.
I would even question how you're pulling that
How
off.
you doing it? You tell me.
That is actually impressive, because
really good.
We catch ourselves doing this every now and then, because our little guy, you know, he gets home around like 3:34, and we normally try and do bedtime close to like 8. So there's like a 4-hour period there some days. And some days he comes home, he's wiped. I get it. I got it. School isn't the easiest thing for my kid. But you can tell when he's kind of burnt out on the situation. He put in some time. And there's times where he's just like, you know, I want to grab a snack. And I want to go chill out. And we won't see him for like an hour. We'll go check on him after an hour and just be like, hey buddy, you doing okay? And
he's good.
He's zoned out, or he's asleep. He falls asleep sometimes. And 3-year-old, I would never leave a 3-year-old alone for an hour. So we get to break up some of that time, and our kid's now at a certain place where he can handle himself, and worst case scenario, you could take him to the gym, and they have a little setup for that, but it's not set up for a 3-year-old.
Not really, not alone, no.
That's a hard one. I would definitely say that
you are doing great.
You're doing awesome.
You're doing great, and don't beat yourself up over that. But if you can make a schedule at the beginning of the week, month, whatever like works for your family, do that, and hopefully that will help to like allot those times in. And don't be afraid though to ask for other people's help, like even like we've done with my parents and stuff, of like making this work so that everyone's getting what they want done, you know. But it does take an army. It does. So, but you're doing great. You're doing
really
awesome.
cool.
Yeah. MSVSG, what does Nate have to say about you working out with Hulks all day? Does he ever get jealous? Go ahead. I have my stance on this.
Do I get jealous? No. It takes a lot for me to get jealous. It takes,
have you ever gotten jealous?
No, I haven't.
No, he doesn't.
It would take a lot. And it's funny because I guess I view jealousy almost as like a weakness.
It is a weakness. It actually is, but it doesn't mean that I don't have that.
So,
but it is.
So yeah, it's almost like if I found myself to be jealous of that environment of her going to the gym, and one of her trainers is a good friend of mine. I played football with him. I know him very well. He is a sexy man. I wish I had his body. He is.
So does the world, and that's gonna be my point.
He's a freak of nature.
Yeah, he's a beast.
He is a specimen.
Yeah.
And he's put a lot of work to get there, and that's a passion for him.
Years.
I get it. If I felt jealous of those types of people being around Kim, I would have to question, what is my relationship with Kim?
Right.
Why do I not trust her? Why do I think that she's putting herself into a situation where something could happen? Right. And I don't have that. And I think that, you know, she isn't afraid to also make a stance as well. Like if she went to the gym and one of the other guys that I don't know that well, our client or something like that, hit on you, or the moment where you would think to yourself, maybe this is disrespectful to my husband, you would do something about that. And I trust that. Yeah. I don't question that. So I have nothing to be jealous of. But we also don't have a history of, you know. Right. There's complexities to everyone's relationship. Ours is just structured a certain way, and it's led me to that, you know. To
not be jealous of things.
Yeah, and that's just my stance. But no, it takes a lot for me to get jealous.
Right. It does. For me too, on that, like, I am truly at a place now there where, and I feel it mutually, I really do. We are at a place, I feel like, at that gym now too, with like the people as I've gotten to know them so well. I mean, yes, I do spend a lot of time with these people, I really do. I look at their bodies as like artwork now. And like, I look at it and go, how do I get that, you know? So I'm like checking people out, I guess you might say, men and women. Like, there's a girl there, I love her arms, Lucia, I want your arms. Ralphie, I want your back. Like, that's what you start to look at of like, it's not, oh my God, he's so cute, he's so sexy. It's like, how do I get that, you know? And
I think Ralphie's sexy.
right. And Sid, I want your legs. And like, it's just like, we all, I think, kind of do this with each other now too. And then our trainers are probably always checking us out, but it's in a way of like, they want to be able to praise us too, that we're doing good and that they see a change and that they're also checking to make sure we're doing things correctly. And like, you know, there's just, we are really like business. When we walk in there, it is business. We have fun. We've gotten to know each other, but it is time to work. Yeah. And that's all things are, it's work. And so that's really where it's become. It's not like a typical gym where you hear that a lot of like, it's just a place to pick up on people. It is not ours. It's a warehouse, guys. It ain't glamorous at all. And it's business. It really is. But I think it's a good question, and I think it's a fair question, because that is something that can happen a lot at gyms, I think. Jodian Randazzo, as a family, do you have any Christmas traditions?
We've turned the walking Christmas lights with our kid.
That's a thing.
He enjoys doing that. Last year when Kim was sick, we kind of did that. We did that again this year in the car already. We probably have another one to go to.
Yeah.
He felt a little cheated because we didn't get out of the car. So we're going to have to go do a cold night walk with that. We like to watch Bad Santa.
Oh, yes, that's true. That's true. Not with our kid, but
no. But like with your dad.
Yeah. Home Alone too. It's a classic.
Yeah.
You always watch that. But yeah, nothing like that's really stuck out yet. But I feel like we will eventually. It just hasn't happened yet.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Betty Horn, what was your favorite Christmas gift and what was your favorite thing you did for someone else on Christmas? I'm so bad at like remembering like what like holiday or birthday or whatever where Valentine's Day did something happen.
Right.
But we were talking about this, I think, on our last, like, in the kitchen together, the football tickets. That was probably, like, for me, my funnest thing or, like, greatest thing I gave to someone was going to, like, the football game together.
Yeah.
The Chargers game. So I'd say that. I remember one year, like, when I had more money, like, this was years ago, like, when I got, like, my first, like, good job, I, like, literally, like, 10 something years ago, I bought, like, my mom a new wardrobe for Christmas. I remember that. I'm trying to think what I received, like, as the best gift. I mean, maybe my car last year, but it wasn't technically Christmas, but it was around that time.
Well, that was Christmas for that year, this year, next year, the following year. Took care of some birthdays, Valentine's Day.
That's fair.
Brand new car.
Irene B, do you see yourself doing intermittent fasting long term as a part of your lifestyle? I do, but I feel like even over the last few months, we have kind of had days where like, nope, not today, not happening today, right? And whether it's eating late or eating too early. And I'm okay with that too. So I want to say, yes, I feel like overall I'm gonna do that and it works well for me. But I'm also okay with like if we have an event or we are gonna go out one night or I'm just starving in the morning, then I will break that fast for the day. That's kind of where I'm at with it, because I do think it's a good rule of thumb to go by, and it works pretty well, and it just keeps you on track a little bit better overall, especially with like bad habits of eating late at night just out of boredom. That was me. So it really helps with that, but again, I'm not going to be super strict of like if we have something come up, you know?
I would like to be a little bit more strict with it than we have been. Or at least
the last couple weeks, I feel like.
But for me, at least, I'd like to get back to the thing, because I feel like, you know, at the end of your fast, you know, because we start eating at 11, we break our fast at 11, and I find that, you know, 9:30, 10 o'clock, you start to get some hunger, and sometimes we break a little early for it.
Sometimes.
And I feel like that's part of it, though. That's part of the fasting process, is to let your body get to that point where it's really hungry, and then eat.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like if you first start to get that hunger and you just eat, you're not really achieving the full thing.
Right. Shannon Harris, how is the kiddo doing being back in school? Do you miss homeschooling? So actually, the day that this is going up, we have an IEP meeting, if you're familiar with that. You know, they're draining, they really are. Like, our child does have an IEP. We've kind of talked about this before. Last year I posted a video of like why we're doing homeschooling and kind of went into the whole story of it. Well, we did the homeschooling thing, and then we took him back to school this past October. So a lot of the things that we explained though before, you know, are still kind of almost like getting re-picked up again, and we're figuring out what's best for him now. So it's a process, it really is. He's doing good. We're just still trying to figure out exactly where he belongs and what kind of like assistance he might need. So that's just where we're at. So we're still kind of at a like, we're still figuring it out. It's frustrating. It's a long process, but he's doing pretty good, and he's happy, and that's what matters. And so, do we miss homeschooling? Not really, no, because he doesn't miss it.
No one
so we
was
don't.
after doing homeschool for the length of time that we did, which it was 6, 7 months, 8 months. It got to. Not, when I say a bad place, I don't mean like unhealthy bad, but it was something that wasn't going to be sustainable.
Right. It was getting to be more bad than good, you know, and it just wasn't working for us.
And I didn't like Because I try and be a part of it, but I also wasn't the main person.
Right.
And coming home on days, or even having the conversation when I'm at work and you need to vent, or getting a text message about something.
Yeah.
I had anxiety about work, about what was happening at home.
Yeah.
You had anxiety because you were here dealing with it. He had anxiety because,
you know, just didn't want to let us down either, but
yeah,
like,
and
didn't
it
want
was
to do it. It was a lot.
It was a lot. I mean, that just those just those phrases when I said it right now, such a weight. Just saying them, just that weight, and that is not good.
It's not good, but it's not to say that homeschool is like that for everyone. It shouldn't be like that. That's the whole point, and I think that it can be so great for so many families, and I think if it is, do it.
Absolutely.
Like, do it. There's things about it I do miss, but overall, this is just not where we're at right now, at least, with him, and he's definitely happier, and we're able to just all have a better balance. It's been a lot better for everyone. I actually miss the little guy. Like, you know, like really, I look forward to him getting home.
Right.
And before we would never get that separation, really. That's hard.
Last week, it was literally fun to do a spelling test here at home.
Yeah. Wasn't dreaded.
And it's healthier.
Yeah, it's just
is a
better.
way to say it.
But we're in the process of everything, but it's going pretty well, and the stress that comes with that has definitely gotten better, I feel like, for us. Like, we're handling all of this a lot better than when you do in the beginning of having to deal with IEPs and dealing with those big meetings and stuff. It can be very stressful, and it still comes with a little bit, but it's definitely like, I feel like I walk in there now like, don't play me. Like, I got this better now. I got a grasp of how this is gonna go, and I'm gonna lead it, not you. You know, and you know what I mean. If you're
ever going to, and I'll just throw this out there, if you ever have to do an IEP for your kid, it is not a bad thing.
No, it's just a lot.
It is not a bad thing. It is what's right for your kid, if you deem it so.
Yeah.
But also understand that it is a finite process that has a lot of caveats to everything that happens during that process. Read up about it, research it, and understand that it's going to be a task. It's a process. Because, I mean, talk about getting sideswiped multiple times, walking into an IEP meeting, and just, it's a process.
It's a lot. They'll throw a lot at you, and when you're not prepared, it's a lot. But now, the more we've gone through this, we're in a better place to handle it. And
we've educated ourselves, and we understand the process much better, so we're able to handle it.
Right.
Because I wasn't able to handle it the first few times.
Yeah. All right, I think that is everything, but I think we technically said at the end of the video we would see who could beat who in arm wrestling from part 1. So, I gotta put him to shame.
You want to be embarrassed?
Here we go! Is this what you do? Ready? You're twisting your wrist! He struggled. Anyway.
Guys, she has some strength, I'm not gonna lie. I had never been so motivated to win in my entire life.
Anyway, like I said, stay tuned for next year. But thank you guys so much for all your questions. I hope you enjoyed, and we will see you very, very soon. But a few more days of Vlogmas.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye.